This is a tutorial video for Adobe Photoshop CS6 for beginners, getting to know Photoshop. In this video I'm going to introduce all the tools in Photoshop and what each thing does, as well as how to open up a photo. When you first open up Photoshop, this is what it looks like here. When you first open up Adobe Photoshop, this is what the interface looks like here. Over here is where your tools are located. If you do not see this, go to Windows and make sure your tools are check mark. And it is, so our tools are here. Now I'm going to open up a file. I'm going to go File, Open, and I can browse where the location of my photo is. Here's a picture of my son I'm going to pull up. I'm going to double click on it and it pulls up here. Next you need to understand layers. It's located over here. Every single asset you insert into this photo will be a separate layer. So we only have one layer, which is the background, located here. If you do not see layers here, the same thing is go into Windows, Layers here, and make sure that's check marked. Now I'm going to briefly discuss the tools that you'll be using for basic photoshopping. If you hover over each one for a few seconds, it's going to tell you the shortcut key on the keyboard that you can use to get to that tool. If you can get used to using the shortcut keys, your editing will go a lot faster and you can get through your picture faster. This first one is the Move tool, or V, on your keyboard. If you select that, it allows you to select different assets in your picture. Next is the Mark You tool here. If you click on it, it allows you to select an area of the picture, and I like to call these dancing ants. If you see this small icon here, this tells you that there is other tools hidden underneath here that is similar to this tool. Right here we have a circle Mark You tool that allows you to select an area in a circle, and we have a row and a column tool. The main ones you'll be using in here is the rectangle tool or the circle tool, depending on what shape you want to be selected. And to help unselect a tool, you need to push Control D to unselect dancing ants. Next is the lasso tool. This allows you to manually select an area, and your dancing ant shows up once you unclick. You have a few different ones. Here's the polygon lasso tool. This allows you to click, unclick, and it will go into straight lines. And if you go back to the end, it will select your area. Magnetic tool is an automatic feature that will try and find the edges of the picture that you are trying to select, and go back to the end and it will have your selection. Again, Control D will undo your selection. Next one is your quick selection tool. This will help you kind of like the magnetic tool, but you just drag and select, and sometimes it doesn't get all the areas that you need. So if you go up here and reduce your size, it will help a little bit more, getting less of the different colors. Underneath here is the magic tool. That will allow you to select an area and it'll automatically select everything in that area that's the same shade of color. Again, I'm going to click on Control D to get rid of the dancing ants. Next you have the cropping tool here. Click on cropping. You can go here and select your ratio. I'm going to do it as a 5:7. And click just inside of it and it'll allow you to start moving it up and down. You can also expand the cropping or shorten it by going to the corner and clicking inside. You can also rotate it by going to the edge and waiting for the mouse to look like a rotating signal, and you can rotate your picture. I'm going to crop him like this. You can use your rule of thirds here to help you crop it evenly. To accept the cropping, you press Enter on your keyboard, and now it is cropped as a 5:7 ratio. The next one is your eyedropper tool. If you click on that and click on any color in the picture, it'll automatically find that color. So if you wanted to type in words and you wanted to match that color, you just click where you want it to match, and the color automatically shows here in your color scheme. Next is the healing brush tool, or J. This allows you to spot heal, or I can go into more detail in a future tutorial on content aware, getting rid of things in the background and blemishes and spots in their pants and so forth. Inside here, the next thing I would use is the patch tool. It does the same thing, but instead of spot healing, you need to select the area. So if he has a little bruise right here, I would select the area and drag it over, and it would copy the area that I dragged it to and put it into that area to help get rid of his spot. Next is the brush tool. This is allowing you to paint in there. There's different ways you can adjust your paintbrush. You go up here, here's your size, and here's your hardness. I always like to make sure my hardness is low, and it helps blend what I'm painting in better. You also have your opacity, how much paint you want to go in, or how little you want to be painting in. And this is actually a very useful tool in a lot of areas. The next thing I wanted to teach you is how to go back. Control-Alt-Z multiple times will go back more than once. Control-Z will go back one time and go forward one time. So I am clicking right now Control-Z over and over again, and it's just going back and forth, back and forth. Control-Alt-Z will go back more than once. The next one is the clone stamp tool. This will allow you to clone stamp an area and copy it to a different area. To expand my brush, so I don't have to go over here and expand it manually, I'm going to use my brackets on my keyboard. My right brackets will go bigger, my left brackets will go smaller. And to select my area that I want to copy from, I'm going to click on Alt, and it brings my tool looking like this. I'm going to click that area, and now I'm going to copy it over. And that's something very useful when you're doing photoshopping. I'm going to push Control-Alt-Z to undo what I just did. The next one that I normally use is the erase tool. Like it says, it just erases the area. Again, I push Control-Z to undo. The next is the paintbrush tool. This allows you to paintbrush an entire color. So if I click right here, anything in that color, it just paintbrushed this color that I have selected here. Undo that area. The next thing you'll use is the type tool, or T. Click on this and select somewhere into the picture, and here is my font size. I'm going to click it as 30 so I can see it. Here is my font type. You just keep it as Myriad Pro, and you notice here that it made a new layer. It is now a new asset on top of this photo. I'm going to click right here and I'm going to type in Connor. Now I can go into more depth of how to change these, but here's your basics right here. Here's your color. I'm going to change it to white, and then I'm going to change this to 90, and now we have Connor right here. To move this text, you go back to the Move tool I mentioned earlier, and that allows you to select that asset. You can see over here in tool layers that it is selected. You select that asset and you move it around. I want it to be right here. Now another basic thing with tools I want you to know is if you double click right here in the blank space, not where it's labeled but in the blank space, I'm going to double click here and it's going to pull up my layer style tab. These are different styles you can insert to this text that I just added. So for this one I'm going to add a drop shadow, and if you click onto it, it'll give you more options of what you can do for the drop shadow. I'm going to click into it. I'm going to change this to normal, I'm going to change my shadow. I want to eyedrop his shirt, change his shadow to this color, and click OK. I want my opacity at 100. Now understand, opacity is the amount that it's going to be shown. I'm going to make the size large and spread so it's thicker. And you can make the difference and change the angle how you want it. You can go through each one of these and play with them to see what ones you like. I'm also going to add a stroke to this picture. Click on stroke. I'm going to keep it out of black. I'm just going to change the size a little bit thicker. So now he has a black stroke with a blue drop shadow. Click OK to apply the settings. Now you see over here the effects that was added. The next tool that you most likely will use is the shape tool. If you hover over here, you have the different shapes that you can make. This will make a new layer that is shaped like this. So we have our rectangle shape. I'm going to select it, have a rectangle, and this is where you can adjust what type of shape you want. This one is a no fill. I can change that to a blue fill, and then I want to keep my stroke as black. And over here you can see that it made a new layer. The reason why it is over the picture is because it is above the layer. So you have to understand with layers that each thing that is above will show above the layer. Now if I move it over here, I'm going to go to my selective tool, move it over, it is still even above my name. I'm going to take the rectangle, drag it underneath the name, and now it's underneath the name but still over the picture. I'm going to go to the corner and adjust the box, and to help so you don't skew the box and distort your square, you push on shift and it'll automatically adjust your square evenly so it will stay a square. I'm going to just have it underneath his name, and I'm going to adjust it this way. And in order to apply the adjustment, you have to press enter. The next tool that you'll be using is the hand tool. This just allows you to adjust the screen. If you double click on it, it'll bring the screen up like it did. And let's say in the next one, it kind of works with the next one, is the zoom tool. Right here will allow you to go zoom out and zoom in. To zoom in, I'm going to select the area, and if it doesn't select like that, it just zooms in as you push it. It means the scrubby zoom is on. I don't like the scrubby zoom, so I always uncheck that. And now I can zoom close into the picture and see the details of his face. To go back automatically, I go back to the hand and double click on it. The next is the color boxes. You click on this one and it allows you to find your color, or you come out here and you see the eyedrop tool, and I can select a color that I would like to be selected. Click OK, and you can have two different colors. So I'm going to keep that one as black. To switch between the two, I can click on this arrow that goes back and forth, or I can do the shortcut key as X. So right now I'm clicking X. That is the introduction of Adobe CS6.